it is going to be quite a grey and gloomy start to the day. There will be some drizzle in places, mostly across any hilly areas. And as we head our way further north, it will become drier. Plenty of bright and clear spells to start the day, though it is going to feel chilly. And across Scotland, once again, it is going to be another wet start. Plenty of showers continuing to push their way in from the west, turning quite breezy here at times too. And these showers often merging together to bring quite persistent outbreaks of rain. And it's likely these will linger through much of the day. But only cloud and drizzle will eventually shift its way southwards, so it should turn drier and brighter here. But the best of the brightness is going to be across Wales, central parts of England, also Northern Ireland should see plenty of sunny spells. Those showers are set to continue across Scotland though. Temperatures will be fairly similar to what we saw this afternoon, so highs of 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Heading into Thursday and across the south, it will be a much brighter start to the day. It's going to be chilly though, some mist and fog in places. Many areas should see a mostly dry day, though we have once again got some showers just starting to move into western parts of Scotland, also parts of Northern Ireland, so it could be a little damp here at times. For the rest of the week and into the weekend, high pressure dominating, so mostly dry, though it's often going to be cloudy. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Free the 48! Free the 48! We don't want no Tuesday! We don't want no Tuesday!
Unwashed, cowardly tofu fanatics take over universities. And they march on Tower Bridge to commemorate the day Islamists slaughtered Jews. Also,
if you want to be a politician, stand for Parliament. If you want to be a judge, then behave with the respect, the reverence for independence that role deserves.
It's time to sack the pro-refugee activist judges. Plus, an exclusive for you here, fury as parents claim that Islam is being forced onto their kids at a Welsh primary school. And the student doctors will go on strike again. Also, Robert Jenrick got in a bit of trouble for this.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in.
Oh gosh, lock him up for stating the bleeding obvious.
Hello, sir. You work in the butchers, obviously, or are you just carrying around a sheep?
There we go. On my panel tonight, we have got Reform's Jamie McIver, the acting deputy comment editor at the Daily Telegraph, Poppy Coburn, and journalist Jonathan Liss. And just in case you weren't 100% sure how disgusting these peaceful pro-Palestine protesters are.
I don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable about that on campus today.
No. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Sack the immigration judges. Next.
Patrick, thank you very much. The top stories. Pro-Palestine protesters are at King's Cross Station this evening, demonstrating on the second anniversary of the October 7th attacks. It comes after the Prime Minister branded such protests as un-British. Writing in The Times, he added the UK remains committed to peace with a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state. Meanwhile, around 100 people turned out for a protest at Sheffield University today in defiance of Sir Keir Starmer and university leaders who urged students to think carefully about their actions. Organisers of the Sheffield event, one of a number of planned protests across the UK today, laughed when asked about Sir Keir Starmer's comments that the timing of the protest was un-British. The protesters gathered outside the Student Union building and shouted chants including "From the river to the sea." Meanwhile, a memorial has been taking place in Tel Aviv this evening to mark the second anniversary of that terror attack in Israel. Thousands have gathered for the bereaved families' memorial ceremony tonight. Families of those still missing say they'll keep fighting until every hostage is returned. That's as Israel's military campaign in Gaza continues. More than 67,000 have been killed, with most homes damaged or destroyed. Indirect peace talks between Israel and Hamas have resumed in Egypt as hopes rise for a breakthrough in the Gaza war. Egypt's foreign minister says the talks are centred on creating a security plan for Israel's full withdrawal from Gaza. Negotiators are also seeking to guarantee unrestricted UN aid access to the territory. Cairo says the ultimate goal is to unite the West Bank and Gaza and move closer to a lasting two-state solution. Elsewhere, Robert Jenrick caused a stir at the Tory party conference today, arriving on stage with a black box with a judge's wig inside. The Shadow Justice Secretary used the prop to call for a crackdown on what he calls activist judges, saying those linked to Open Borders charities are like referees who support the opposition. Robert Jenrick says he won't shy away from his comments about not seeing another white face during a visit to Birmingham's Handsworth area. He insists his remarks were about integration and not race, linking poor integration to last week's terror attack in Manchester. Kemi Badenoch defended him, saying there's nothing wrong with making observations, but Labour called his comments a red line. Former Tory Mayor Andy Street said Jenrick was wrong about Handsworth, which he described as a very integrated place. It all comes after The Guardian published a leaked recording of Jenrick's remarks from a Conservative dinner in March. And Tory leader Kemi Badenoch sat down with our political editor Christopher Hope. Badenoch warns that high immigration levels damage communities.
Small boats were not caused by Tory policies. They're small boats in France. They're in Italy. There is a problem with global mass migration. We tried lots of things to fix it. They didn't work. People saw that we ended up, the courts, stopping us from doing that. That's why we're leaving the ECHR, because we're tired of people using the courts to frustrate the democratic will. But you will remember that before small votes, it was channel migrants coming through the tunnel. We fixed that. We stopped that. So we can do it again.
Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, it's back to Patrick.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Good evening. It is time to sack the asylum seeker-loving immigration judges. Our judiciary is infested with a cabal of political activists in wigs who seem to do their best to keep total wrong-uns in Britain so that us plebs have to live amongst them. Let's look at some bonkers cases. Judge Fiona Beach, an immigration judge who was formerly a director of Asylum Aid and represented migrants pro bono on behalf of the Bail for Immigration detainees. She let a knife-wielding, drug-dealing sex criminal stay because she said that the evidence showed he was not a, quote, sufficiently serious threat. Judge Leonie Hurst allowed an Albanian burglar with 50 convictions to remain in Britain because she said that his crimes were not very extreme and wouldn't cause deep public revulsion. I mean, she was wrong about that, wasn't she? She also allowed a Guinean asylum seeker who was guilty of knife and drug offences to stay because he was socially and culturally integrated. She was also involved in a 2015 litigation that ended fast-track decisions while migrants were held in removal centres. Hey, look, shock horror. It turns out that she served as a director at the now-closed Refugee Legal Centre while working as a barrister in the mid-2000s. Let's whiz ourselves on now to Judge Rebecca Chapman. She's apparently a deputy judge in the Upper Tribunal Immigration and Asylum Chamber. She also worked for the charity Refugee Legal Support. Well, an Iranian asylum seeker has been allowed to have his deportation case reheard after claiming, get this, he had so many Facebook friends that he was at risk of persecution if he was deported. Thank you very much, Your Honour. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick is actually calling this stuff out.
Judges who blur the line between adjudication and activism can have no place in our justice system. Which is why we won't just tinker with a broken system. and reform immigration tribunals. We will abolish them, once and for all.
One of the people that he name-checks is this guy.
For his appointment, Judge Symes volunteered for bail for immigration detainees. Even after his appointment, he takes public positions on social media on illegal migration proposals. And he even advertises his judicial office to drum up business for his immigration advisory services.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a look at that charity group earlier, and it is actually crystal clear. Now, get this is a quote. "We dream of a world free of immigration detention, where people are not deprived of their liberty or deported from their home. We aim to end immigration detention in the UK." It's a judge. Here's Judge Canavan. She refused to deport a Jamaican convicted rapist and crack cocaine dealer, accepting that they'd face persecution or indeed hardship if deported. She was previously a refugee charity caseworker and volunteered on cases, you guessed it, preventing deportation. Just to round us off, Robert Jenrick's uncovered another one, Judge Heaven.
Judge Heaven. She spent 5 years before she became a judge volunteering for bail for immigration detainees. And even after becoming a judge, she took to social media to celebrate the defeat of the government's Rwanda plan. These people should have no place in our justice system.
Yep. The days of judges being beyond reproach is over. The establishment hate it. Just look at Emily Maitlis's barely concealed fury that Robert Jenrick dared to call this stuff out.
If you had an anti-immigration judge, can I just ask, if you had an anti-immigration judge...
Can you justify...
Would that be an activist judge?
Who on social media has given their views on immigration, or who is the trustee of a pro-borders charity? No, of course not. I wouldn't do that.
So when Lib Dems call it a Trumpian purge, what's your response to that?
I'm defending the judiciary. I'm defending the judiciary.
OK. They hate it because they know it's game over. It's over, OK? The British public are not going to bow down in deference anymore. If they don't like it, they can leave the profession and go and work for refugee charities, like Baroness Brenda Hale, the former president of the Supreme Court. She heard many cases involving refugees and asylum seekers. After retiring, she became a commissioner for the Commission of the Integration of Refugees. Well, I'm sorry, but GBNews is here now, and we're not too scared to call this stuff out. I find it very hard to believe that this procession of pro-refugee asylum seeker lovers managed to leave their personal views at the door when they walked into the courtroom. Let's get the views of my panel. We, of course, have Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, The Telegraph's Poppy Coburn and journalist Jonathan Liss. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. I mean, game's up, isn't it, now, for these judges?
Yeah,
they've been rumbled.
They have, and I think the public actually could see this was happening. I think the British people could see this happening, some absurd decisions that have come out of our judiciary. And, you know, I would take it down even to a lower court level. If you just look recently at the sentencing of 3 men for public disorder in Epping, who have got a tougher sentence than the individual that sexually assaulted a 14-year-old schoolgirl. I think we are seeing this across the judiciary. And I think it is wrong, but I think the British people have seen right through it. And I think Robert Jenrick is right to call it out, but it's, again, the same question with every Conservative politician. Why didn't they deal with it when they had the opportunity?
You know what, I'm going to follow on from that line, because as much as I think these judges are utterly contemptible, I mean, one of the charities that you name there, Patrick, Bail for Immigration Detainees, it is nuts. It's an open borders advocacy foundation. These people and these judges, the decisions they have made have directly led to, in some cases, losses of life. OK, so I really cannot stress enough how much I think what they do is contemptible. But how do you actually ensure that we have a sensible immigration system? Judges don't write laws. Parliament does. Politicians do. Robert Jenrick was immigration minister at one point. If you want to get a full overhaul of the immigration system where these cases don't even get to appeal in the first place, change the law through Parliament, then we can get to
The only thing I would say, before I come to Jonathan on this, the only thing I would say on that is that some of their interpretations of the law have been so bonkers that it can only have come...
The law is quite badly written.
From open border fanatics. But even things like when you look at a balding, grey-haired, 6'5" Sudanese man and you just decide that he's probably 16. You know, I think you have to be an open border refugee fanatic.
But let's
to
be
make that
harsher.
decision.
I don't trust these people at all. Let's say, sorry, you don't get to do judicial review on immigration decisions anymore. Sorry, you've abused the power too much. You don't have it anymore. That's something that the government could actually do.
Jonathan, they've been rumbled, haven't they? The game's up. They've had a good run, these judges, but frankly, it's a new era now, and we need to just accept that they're riddled with pro-refugee bias.
No, funnily enough, I don't think that, Patrick. I think that if you want to go down the route of the United States, where the judiciary becomes a viciously partisan theatre, where competing presidents decide to stack the court, the Supreme Court and every court down in their political favour, ending up with a country like the United States, which is basically ungovernable and completely riven, then great, go ahead with Generate's plan. Funnily enough, I actually agree with something that Poppy said, which is that judges do not write laws. And we have laws, and judges interpret them. Now, you may disagree with judges' interpretations, and I frequently do as well, but you have to depend on the fact that people may have their own views, but they are also professionals and they can exercise judgment.
I don't believe that.
Well, I think that's a conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. How can you have someone who literally works, or has worked anyway, for a charity whose stated aim is to end any detention for illegal migrants or refugees or whatever, which is basically an open border fanatic thing? How can you possibly say
it's not open borders, Patrick? No one's saying that we need to abolish Britain's borders. No one is saying that.
Bail for immigration detainees is saying that.
No one's saying that every single person in the country should be allowed in without any
questions. They really are. They are an open border.
Well, I've never seen anyone say that there should be anyone can. Well, so the United Kingdom clearly has a capacity issue eventually. I've never. If there is someone who says that that 8 billion people can come and live in the UK, I'd be very interested to hear it.
Aren't they kind of saying that? Isn't
yes,
that
yes, they are.
Well, I would disagree with that. I've never heard anyone say that before.
Just a moment. I have heard people say this before. I've written about it extensively, looking into these immigration charities. I think it shocks a lot of people who are fair-minded liberals about how extreme some of these groups really are. I agree that they are not representative of all liberal opinion on this subject, but there are people who are total hardliners. They think there should be absolutely no borders of violence. That's just the concept, borders of violence entirely. So no immigration detention, which means effectively you can't stop anyone from coming in. No stopping of any boats, no deportation flights. They'll block every single one. There are people who do believe in open borders in this country.
Also, most people would, by the way, Jonathan, probably swap the government of the United States of America with this government any day of the week and actually have controlled borders. And secondly,
Trump is very unpopular in this country.
This is actually about our very broken constitution, albeit in its uncodified form, because what Tony Blair did when he destroyed our unwritten constitution was when he took the judiciary away from Parliament, and it's lost that accountability. They've been able to get away with so much for many, many years because that Parliament isn't able to hold them accountable with so many of these awful things. And if you was to have the judiciary back where it should be, in the House of Lords, with that ability to hold people to account, you would be able to stop a lot of this, but they've been able to get away with it on their own for far too long.
Well, I mean, the law lords are always separate from the House of Lords in general. I mean, you kind of mainly just change the venue where they meet.
It should be sovereign, and we should always...
I think you should have a separation of powers. That was important.
It's not happening. Just let's probably, because I think, you know, if the way around, if people are getting so worked up about the kind of language that Robert Jenrick used there, and by the way, we're also touching on things he said about Birmingham, which again he was just right about earlier on. You know, if they were so, they shouldn't have let it get to this stage, should they? A procession of completely inexplicable rulings on immigration cases that only make sense if you look at it from the standpoint of the fact that maybe this judge is of the view that basically all refugees should stay in Britain. They didn't have to let it get to this stage, did they?
And it's been literally happening my entire lifetime, Patrick. Don't want to call myself out too much here, but a couple of years ago, I was looking through historic cases of asylum appeals. There was one woman who seemed to be going through the system for literally half the time I'd been alive, just going backwards and backwards and forwards with these legal charities. And eventually she got a judge who was sympathetic to these views, that despite not having a valid claim to remain in the UK, really none at all, at that point she'd been here for so long that the judge went, oh, well, you may as well just stay. You know, you've been here for so long, appealing our decision, refusing to leave, you may as well just stay in Britain. This is the sort of thing that degrades trust in institutions like this. And I do understand your argument, by the way. I actually don't want a politicised system. What I would say is that you should have been calling out the politicisation of the system sooner, before it became a reaction on the part of the right. The right are not just saying this. from nowhere. There have been cases that have really, really aggregated the public, and understandably so. So that lack of trust starts in one direction. I'm not sure it's the direction.
Poppy, I think it's a fallacy to suggest that only the right wing has problems with the judicial structure in the United Kingdom. There are a lot of lefties, I can assure you, who also have extreme fundamental problems with the way that the policing works in this country, the way the courts work.
So you agree we need reform?
Completely, we need reform, and I think that there is huge overreach in government power on probably different issues from the ones that you think the government overreaches on. But absolutely, the court system needs reform. And Robert Jenrick, who oversaw, along with his party, more than £1 billion of cuts in the judicial system, and the swinging austerity, which has left the longest backlog in the courts that we've ever seen, is not the person to be talking about this.
Well, we're going to have to whiz it on. A spokesperson for the judiciary has told us in each case, judges make decisions based on the evidence and arguments presented and apply the law as it stands. So that is their statement. And look, obviously, every single judge that I have mentioned there will no doubt categorically say that they are entirely independently minded, they're just doing the job, and that they have never brought political bias into any courtroom. So that's good. Right, look, I've got a lot more coming your way, including whether or not it's fair to say that you don't really see many white faces in Birmingham. I think anyone who's ever been there will think that that's absolutely true. But before that, it's the Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win 30 grand in tax-free cash, massive motorhome. Here's how.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck, everybody. So, coming up.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in.
So lefty rag The Guardian really thought that they'd snared the Shadow Justice Secretary with those comments about a Birmingham suburb. It's given us the opportunity to prove that he's right, though, hasn't it? But before that, we've got a flurry of policy announcements at Tory party conference today. Powers to sack activist judges, the end of two-tier justice, supposedly, expanded stop-and-search powers for police officers. Well, I'm going to be joined live by Shadow Justice Minister Kieran Mullan from the conference hall in Manchester in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
I don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable about that on campus today.
No, I don't. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Brilliant stuff. Well, that was a student speaking as hundreds of pro-Palestine protesters held rallies on the second anniversary of the October the 7th massacre. I've got loads of clips like that for you. They'll be coming your way shortly. But first, the Conservative Party conference continued today with Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick's pledge to sack activist pro-migration judges, grabbing most of the headlines.
An unbiased mediator. That is what a judge should be. Today, I've uncovered dozens of judges with links to Open Borders charities.
Yeah, he also pledged to put ministers, not judges, in charge of sentencing in England and Wales in a bid to stop what he calls two-tier justice. Obviously, there were 20 councillors that defected from the Tories to Reform today, which is probably not ideal, but anyway, these things happen. Let's speak now to Shadow Justice Minister Kieran Mullan, who's live at the conference hall in Manchester for us. Kieran, tremendous to see you. Thank you very, very much. Let's just deal first things first with the activist judges bit, if that's all right. So are you, do you acknowledge that we have political activists in wigs?
Well, I think what Rob and his team have done a really good job of is uncovering actually a whole series of judges who've been saying things and been involved in organisations that bring into question their impartiality. And actually one of the great things about our judicial system, it's recognised around the world for its impartiality. So we absolutely have to crack down on any suggestion that judges are not the impartial arbiters they're supposed to be. You know, we have an example of a judge who's celebrating the overturning of the Rwanda plan and our attempts to deport illegal migrants. You cannot do that and then expect to serve in our judiciary. That's just not acceptable. And the reforms we've announced today as part of the new leadership of the Conservative Party, where we're bringing forward bold new reforms for our judiciary and other areas of government, demonstrate we're going to tackle these issues.
So what would actually happen in practice then? So if you win the next election, are you saying that those judges will be sacked, and who would replace them?
So there is key reforms here, both in terms of sentencing, so we're abolishing the sentencing council, so in terms of that risk of two-tier justice, we're putting ministers directly back in charge of sentencing policy. When it comes to judicial conduct, so whether judges get sacked, we're putting again ministers back in charge of that for the worst cases, that ministers can direct for judges to be sacked on the recommendation of independent investigations that will show clearly that judges have been doing and saying things that they shouldn't have been doing. And when it comes comes to appointing judges in the first place, we're undoing Tony Blair's reforms that again gave that over to another quango and putting ministers directly back in charge of that. So in the first place, that we're going to making sure that we're not appointing people for whom there might be questions legitimately raised about their independence on some of these really controversial cases. And the other thing I think is important to tell you is we're actually abolishing the whole system of judges sitting over these immigration cases, full stop. We're bringing that back into the Home Office so that actually ministers and civil servants will have direct control over these cases, because for too long the courts have frustrated legitimate efforts to deport people that shouldn't be in this country.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it all sounds good. In the same way that you wouldn't put a shoplifter in charge of a branch of Tesco's, you know, why would you put some of these people in charge of our immigration decisions? But just to come back to the sentencing council side of it, I've read with some interest today there was three men who were sentenced as part of one of the protests outside the Epping Bell Hotel, migrant hotel protest. A couple of them, to be fair, did have quite a long list of previous convictions. One of them did not, and he was a carer for his 72-year-old mother. He got 1 year and 10 months in prison for punching a police officer's riot shield. The actual Ethiopian man who sexually assaulted a schoolgirl got 1 year in prison. Is that an example of two-tier justice that you'd be trying to scrap?
Well, I'm not going to comment on individual cases that I don't know the details of. What I am absolutely clear about is that I share the frustration of the public that we are seeing people who commit very serious criminal offences not spending time in prison in the way that they should do. And what's worse, Labour are planning to make that even worse. So in a forthcoming legislation, Labour plan to let people serve just, in most cases, a third of the time in prison that they should be serving in prison. So I understand the public's frustration where they say things that they perhaps feel don't warrant a prison sentence in light of things that are clearly heinous, terrible crimes, violent crimes, sexual crimes, people not serving anything like the sort of time that they should be, and I really understand that frustration.
Yeah, well, quite. Look, another thing that grabbed the headlines today was a comment that Robert Jenrick made about Birmingham specifically. He said that there were parts of Birmingham where he hadn't really seen a white face. I think we all got a recording of this anyway. Go on.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where people are properly integrated. It's not about the colour of your skin or your faith, of course it isn't. But I want people to be living alongside each other, not parallel lives. That's not the right way we want to live as a country.
I mean, do you find some of the outrage about that quite performative, really? Almost like people have never really been to Birmingham?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. First of all, can I just congratulate you on playing the whole clip? Because obviously, you know, there are very many media organisations that are not playing the whole clip and giving the context. And I'm from Birmingham. I know exactly what Rob is talking about. There are parts of our city, the Birmingham, that are well integrated, but there are parts of the city that are absolutely not well integrated. And that's the point that Rob was making. And that's the sort of comment that we have got to get away from saying people can't say. And that, as Rob has said, that is actually what drives right-wing extremism. It's what drives people looking to other parties with more extreme solutions. If politicians are not allowed to just make simple observations that are common sense, that everybody can understand and relate to, that is actually what causes problems in our society. It shouldn't be that there are whole parts of a city like Birmingham where actually ethnic minorities live very much on their own, in isolation, not integrated. And actually you can actually see that if you walk through certain parts of Birmingham for yourself, and not just Birmingham, there are other cities that have a similar issue. And that was the point that Rob was making, and he absolutely made clear it wasn't making a value judgment on those people. He was just talking about that as a very obvious example of where we're not integrating, and that cannot be good for us.
Well, look, I mean, if it's a fact, it might be an uncomfortable fact for people, but if it's a fact nonetheless, then it has to stand. Look, Kieran, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Kieran Mullan, there is the Shadow Justice Minister. We are actually going to zone in a little bit on some of that in a second, but first-year doctors have now voted in favour of strike action because apparently they can't get jobs. But the reason why they can't get jobs is really quite fascinating, and I'm going to reveal all to you very, very shortly. First, though.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in.
Well, we're going to have a debate on whether or not that was racist, and I've got some clips from Birmingham that I think might both amuse you and potentially prove Mr. Jenrick correct.
Be nice to escape the grey. Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow across southern parts of Europe, there's a lot of fine weather around. A few spots of rain here and there, a couple of showers starting to push their way into parts of Portugal, maybe around some coastal parts of Spain. Otherwise, a generally fine picture here. Also generally dry across much of Italy as well. Further east into parts of Greece, also around Croatia, a few showery bursts, but a lot of that clearing away. So actually, as we go through the end of the week into the weekend, it's looking dry for many of us and warm in the sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, the sunshine will return for some. Still fairly cloudy across the south though, and plenty of showers moving their way in across Scotland. Back to this evening, and we can expect some spells of rain initially across northern parts of England and Wales. Then eventually the system will drift its way southwards, bringing in more cloud, also some drizzly outbreaks across central and southern parts of the UK. To the north of this though, mostly dry, plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to turn chilly. A chance we could see some isolated frost, possibly even some mist and fog during the early hours of the morning. A different story across Scotland though, more cloud here and plenty of showers moving through. So a fairly chilly start across northern areas, but slightly milder under the cloud in the south. And it is going to be quite a grey and gloomy start to the day. There will be some drizzle in places, mostly across any hilly areas. And as we head our way further north, it will become drier. Plenty of bright and clear spells to start the day, though it is going to feel chilly. And across Scotland, once again, it is going to be another wet start. Plenty of showers continuing to push their way in from the west, turning quite breezy here at times too. And these showers often merging together to bring quite persistent outbreaks of rain. And it's likely these will linger through much of the day. But any cloud and drizzle will eventually shift its way southward, so it should turn drier and brighter here, but the best of the brightness is going to be across Wales, central parts of England, also Northern Ireland should see plenty of sunny spells. Those showers are set to continue across Scotland though. Temperatures will be fairly similar to what we saw this afternoon, so highs of 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Heading into Thursday and across the south, it will be a much brighter start to the day. It's going to be chilly though, some mist and fog in places. Many areas should see a mostly dry day, though we have once again got some showers just starting to move into western parts of Scotland, also parts of Northern Ireland, so it could be a little damp here at times. For the rest of the week and into the weekend, high pressure dominating, so mostly dry, though it's often going to be cloudy. That's it from me, bye-bye.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Yeah, that's one of many clips I've got for you of people out appearing to celebrate the massacre of Jews earlier today, but more on that shortly. First, though, was Robert Jenrick racist for complaining that he didn't see a white face in one Birmingham suburb? It's time now for the head-to-head. Well, The Guardian published a leaked recording of the Shadow Justice Secretary appearing to complain, or at least point out, that he didn't see any white faces in a Birmingham suburb.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where people are properly integrated. It's not about the colour of your skin or your faith. Of course it isn't. But I want people to be living alongside each other, not parallel lives. That's not the right way we want to live as a country.
But were his comments actually that bad? I mean, let's just have a little look, shall we, of Soho Road in Handsworth, Birmingham a few years ago. I mean, it does kind of largely speak for itself as you kind of pan down that street there. And, you know, I was in Birmingham recently. I've been to Birmingham loads of times. I've been in Birmingham recently. I did a report from Spark Hill. I should have gone with an interpreter. I mean, I would have needed one to have communicated with the vast majority of people that were walking past me there. I mean, I went down Alum Rock Road. I don't know if anyone's had the pleasure. Go down to Alum Rock Road. There you go. And, yeah, I mean, you know, there we go. Oh, in fact, I think, here we go. There's a clip here as well.
Hello, sir. You work in the butchers, obviously, or are you just carrying around a sheep?
No, that's, I think, Alum Rock Road. There you go. I mean, that looks relatively close to slum conditions, I think, really. So was Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick actually being racist to mention that he didn't see a white face during a trip to a Birmingham suburb? Going head-to-head on this now are the social policy analyst and commentator Dr Rakib Hassan and the director of Voice for Change England, Kunle Ololode. Thank you very, very much. Rakib, I'll start with you, if that's all right. What do you make of what Robert Jenrick had to say? I mean, was it kind of just true?
Well, I think, Patrick, some people find Robert Jenrick's statements controversial. Some might argue that it's a clumsy foray into UK race relations. But the claim that he made was that he visited Handsworth and he considered to be one of the worst integrated places he'd ever been to. And I think that we have to just be honest that in some inner city areas, they have undergone remarkable forms of cultural, demographic change. I think that when you're looking at integration, I think one key measure is to what extent do people feel a sense of Britishness, that they have a sense of belonging to the British democratic national community. Now, there's some neighbourhoods in Handsworth where the majority of residents, when they were asked in the 2021 census, what did they consider to be their national home, they reported an exclusively non-UK national identity, the majority of residents in some neighbourhoods. And I think that when you look in other neighbourhoods as well, you'll see that there's very low levels of English language proficiency. So that gives rise to questions to what extent can you truly integrate into mainstream civic British life if you don't have a decent command of the English language.
OK, would you like to come back to that then? Oh, I think we've got a microphone off there. Sorry, can we get that microphone on? Is that all right? I think it'll be on in a second, I've got no doubt. I want to give you the opportunity to come back to that.
You hear me now?
Got you. Yes, good. Sorry,
Great.
Crack on.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, I think in terms of the specific comments that were made by Jerry, you cannot tell how well integrated somebody is by simply looking at their race or ethnic makeup. I think that it's clear that particularly Handsworth, even going back to the 1950s, there's always been a centre of migrants and migrant destination. Now, looking at it today, and certainly looking at the stats in Rakib's article, I think it's interesting that looking at the more recent time, there's no doubt that you can see that previous waves of immigrants have actually integrated quite well into society in the Midlands. But I think Rakib's point, and certainly Jenrick's point, is about what's happened more recently. So I don't take the idea that you can tell whether somebody's integrated into society by their racial or ethnic makeup. I think that's something, as other people have indicated, is more complex than simply just looking at their race. In fact, even within migrant communities today, you can talk about settled communities, people that are well integrated, and those that are newly arrived.
OK, well, I do wonder, Rakib, whether or not it's just about how newly arrived you are, because, I mean, there's quite a few first, and I would argue second-generation migrants as well, certainly in parts of Manchester near where I used to live, who I don't think have integrated particularly well. I don't really think I necessarily had a huge desire to integrate particularly well. I mean, what do you make of this? Do you think that people are maybe slightly burying their heads in this? Like some of the outrage that we've seen about what Jenrick said, is it people who just want to ignore the reality, do you think?
Well, I think that we need to adopt some fresh thinking when it comes to matters of immigration. If you look at the British Muslim population, for example, the younger generations are relatively well educated compared to their elders. They're more likely to socially interact with people belonging to a different ethnic and religious background. But it's the younger generations who are actually more likely than their elders, many of whom were born in Asia and Africa. They're more likely to identify as Muslim, first and foremost. So you see that interesting integration paradox where you have younger British Muslims, they're well integrated in the labour market, they've attained a high level of educational attainment, but when they're actually asked about their identity, they're more likely to identify with their faith first and foremost. So I think that we need to look at integration very differently. There's some very interesting dynamics here. And I think that with I think the point I'd make about Jenrick's comments is that when you look at integration, you have to look beyond ethnic and religious demography. There's a myriad of economic, social and cultural considerations to be made if you want to see how truly well integrated a community is in modern Britain.
Is that, and I'm going to ask this because of both the demographics of that area, then the kind of wider demographics of Birmingham generally. Is arguably what we're talking about here less about maybe certain other races and nationalities integrating? Are we specifically making a comment here about whether or not the Muslim community has integrated at the same degree as other cultures and other communities?
Well, I looked at the data and stats, and certainly something like 47% of that area is Muslim. You know, you then look at other religious denominations, 20% Christian, and about 8% Hindu. And obviously add to that people of no faith. So I think we are looking at that culturally, although, again, as Rakiba's indicated, 50% of the populace is actually born in the UK, in that area. So what does it tell us? Is it that you've actually got a new generation, which although is well integrated into British society, does not identify as British? So that's a very different issue from, I think, some of the discussion that people are also having, which is about cultural difference and actually going into areas which culturally do not represent, as you say, the indigenous populace.
All right. Look, both of you, thank you. I've enjoyed that. It's a bit of a minefield, that topic, but I hope we've kind of picked our way through it a bit there. Thank you very, very much. It's the social policy analyst and commentator, Dr. Rakiba San, and the director for Voice for Change England, Kunle Olode. Thank you very much. Right, we've got a lot more coming your way. At 10 p.m, we've got a bit of this.
Free the 48! Free the 48! We don't want no true state! We don't want no true state!
Hundreds of cowardly, unwashed, angry, shouty, tofu enthusiasts, students took part in pro-Palestine rallies today, the same day as the second anniversary of the October the 7th massacre. We're going to get stuck into that. Before that, though, first-year doctors have voted in favour of strike action. The reason why, though, might surprise you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
I don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable by that on campus today.
No. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Great. So that's one of many clips I'm going to show you about an absolutely shocking day in Britain's history. Loads of people out commemorating the October 7th massacre. But before that, some different news for you. So patients are once again facing more disruption because first-year doctors have voted in favour of a strike action. And this is actually not really about pay, for once, necessarily. It's about a shortage of jobs. So the British Medical Association Union claims that thousands of resident doctors are ending up without speciality training places when they finish year 2 of training. So only 10,000 jobs are available for 30,000 candidates. Well, oh gosh, does anyone know why that is? Well, while the government has increased medical school places, ministers haven't sufficiently expanded the number of funded training positions. However, the other reason is that last year we had 10,000 people who were graduating who could get places in hospitals, and then we imported somewhere in the region of 20,000 from other countries. So I wonder if we're going to start seeing a bit of pushback there. I'm joined now by the former Medical Director and Chief Medical Officer at Bupa, Dr Andrew Valence-Owen. Thank you very much. Tremendous to see you. OK, so can you explain to me why there's a shortage of jobs then, please, for what would you say, homegrown doctors, I suppose?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is, as you've implied, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, people have known about this developing problem for a long time, and the people who have been trying to work out the structure of and the numbers in the NHS have just got it wrong. And, you know, part of the problem is more priority is being given by the NHS to management, to HR, and less to the front line. And we're seeing this not only with junior doctors, but also with consultants as well. And they have to do something about it. But of course, the NHS is very strapped for cash, so it's a really bad problem they've got themselves into.
Yeah, quite. But why do we have a situation where 10,000 homegrown doctors are able to maybe find a place at a hospital, but we kind of cap it at that, don't we? Why do we have a cap on the number of graduate doctors who are able to qualify every single year?
Yeah, it's money. I mean, you know, when it comes down to it, it's what the NHS feels it can afford, but it doesn't give the priority, as I've said, to the people at the front line who are absolutely fundamental to running the NHS.
Sorry, can I just ask you on the... Sorry, Doctor, I just cut you off, but this is what I don't understand. You say it's about what the NHS can afford. So why can it afford 20,000 doctors from overseas then, but it can't afford to have, instead of that, just a combined total of 30,000 British, British trained doctors?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and I'm not an apologist for the NHS. I think that they've got a fundamental problem here. Part of the problem, of course, is the pay dispute as well. Doctors are now on shift working, and they're still expecting to be paid very good rates, although they're only working 8 hours in a shift. Fundamental change, of course, to what it's been like over many years, where people have been on a salary and they've worked because they believe that they have to spend time with their patients and work long hours.
I just wonder if what happened was that doctors' unions lobbied the government a good number of years ago now to cap the number of British doctors that could qualify every year so that they could try to keep wages as high as possible. And then what's happened is that we've said, OK, then, we're just going to import a load of people from places like, I don't know, India, Pakistan, Nigeria, wherever else, to come as well. And now what's happening is that actually quite a lot of really left-wing unionist doctors are feeling the impact of mass immigration themselves, and they don't like it, but they're not brave enough to say it.
I don't think it was a deliberate, well, it might have been a deliberate strategy, but at the end of the day, these jobs are advertised. There is not a criteria for having more overseas doctors than UK doctors. It's a competitive environment. So I don't believe it's a plan, but I believe it's very poor planning overall, and they've got to sort it out, because otherwise, no wonder doctors are leaving the country in droves to go to other countries.
Well, this is the other thing. We're losing the talent. We are losing the talent, and it's not all about pay. Look, thank you very much. It is a pleasure to see you, Dr. Andrew Valens-Owen there. Right, so we've got another doctor here, Dr. Jack Fletcher, chair of the BMA's Resident Doctors Committee, who said this: doctors have spoken clearly. They won't accept that they face a career of insecurity at a time when demand for doctors is huge, and he's vows to keep fighting. Right, coming up at 10 p.m, I'm going to be talking to you about these monstrous rallies that we're seeing on the streets today.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head into tomorrow, the sunshine will return for some. Still fairly cloudy across the south, though, and plenty of showers moving their way in across Scotland. Back to this evening, and we can expect some spells of rain, initially across northern parts of England and Wales. Then eventually the system will drift its way southwards, bringing in more cloud, also some drizzly outbreaks across central and southern parts of the UK. To the north of this, though, mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to turn chilly. A chance we could see some isolated frost, possibly even some mist and fog during the early hours of the morning. A different story across Scotland, though, more cloud here and plenty of showers moving through. So a fairly chilly start across northern areas, but slightly milder under the cloud in the south. And it is going to be quite a grey and gloomy start to the day. There will be some drizzle in places, mostly across any hilly areas. And as we head our way further north, it will become drier. Plenty of bright and clear spells to start the day, though it is going to feel chilly. And across Scotland, once again, it is going to be another wet start. Plenty of showers continuing to push their way in from the west, turning quite breezy here at times too. And these showers often merging together to bring quite persistent outbreaks of rain. And it's likely these will linger through much of the day. But only cloud and drizzle will eventually shift its way southward, so it should turn drier and brighter here, but the best of the brightness is going to be across Wales, central parts of England, also Northern Ireland should see plenty of sunny spells. Those showers are set to continue across Scotland though. Temperatures will be fairly similar to what we saw this afternoon, so highs of 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Heading into Thursday and across the south, it will be a much brighter start to the day. It's going to be chilly though, some mist and fog in places. Many areas should see a mostly dry day, though we have once again got some showers just starting to move into western parts of Scotland, also parts of Northern Ireland, so it could be a little damp here at times. For the rest of the week and into the weekend, high pressure dominating, so mostly dry, though it's often going to be cloudy. That's it from me, bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Free the 48!
Free the 48!
We don't want no true state!
We don't want no true state!
Unwashed, cowardly tofu fanatics take over universities. And they march on Tower Bridge to commemorate the day that Islamists slaughtered Jews. But it wasn't just Britain. That's right, we are going to be going live with GB News presenter Ben Leo, who is at a pro-Palestine rally in New York for us tonight. Also, this is a big exclusive for you. Fury as parents claim that Islam is being forced onto their kids at a Welsh primary school. On my panel tonight, we have got Reform UK's Jamie McIver, the acting deputy comment editor at The Telegraph, Poppy Coburn, and journalist Jonathan Liss. And just in case you weren't 100% sure how disgusting some of these peaceful pro-Palestine protests are,
I don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable about that on campus today.
No. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. You can take your intifada and shove it up your backside. Next.
Patrick, thank you very much. The top stories. Pro-Palestine protesters have been gathering at King's Cross Station this evening, demonstrating on the second anniversary of the October 7th terror attacks in Israel. It comes after the Prime Minister branded such protests as un-British. Writing in The Times, he added the UK remains committed to peace with a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state, he said. Meanwhile, around 100 people turned out for a protest at Sheffield University today in defiance of Sir Keir Starmer and of university leaders who urged students to think carefully about their actions. Organisers of the Sheffield event, one of a number planned across the UK, laughed when asked about Sir Keir's comments that the timing of the protest was un-British. The protesters gathered outside the Student Union building and shouted chants including "From the river to the sea." Meanwhile, a memorial has been taking place in Tel Aviv to mark the second anniversary of the terror attack. Thousands gathered for the bereaved families' memorial ceremony earlier this evening. Families of those still missing say they'll keep fighting until every hostage is returned. That's as Israel's military campaign in Gaza continues. More than 67,000 have been killed. Indirect peace talks between Israel and Hamas have resumed in Egypt as hopes rise for a breakthrough in the Gaza war. Egypt's foreign minister says the talks are centred on creating a security plan for Israel's full withdrawal from Gaza. Negotiators are also seeking to guarantee unrestricted UN aid access to the territory. Cairo says the ultimate goal is to unite the West Bank and Gaza and move closer to a lasting two-state solution. In other news today, the Shadow Justice Secretary caused a stir at the Tory party conference, arriving on stage with a black box with a judge's wig inside. Robert Jenrick used the prop to call for a crackdown on what he calls activist judges, saying those linked to Open Borders charities are like referees who support the opposition. Mr Jenrick says he won't shy away from his comments about not seeing another white face during a visit to Birmingham's Handsworth area. He insists his remarks were about integration, not race, linking poor integration to last week's terror attack in Manchester. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch defended him, saying there's nothing wrong with making observations, but Labour called his comments a red line. Former Tory Mayor Andy Street said Mr Jenrick was wrong about Handsworth, which he described as a very integrated place. It comes after The Guardian published a leaked recording of Mr Jenrick's remarks from a Conservative dinner in March. Kemi Badenoch sat down with our political editor Christopher Hope. She warns that high immigration levels damage communities.
Small boats were not caused by Tory policies. They're small boats in France. They're in Italy. There is a problem with global mass migration. We tried lots of things to fix it. They didn't work. People saw that we ended up, the courts, stopping us from doing that. That's why we're leaving the ECHR, because we're tired of people using the courts to frustrate the democratic will. But you will remember that before small votes, it was channel migrants coming through the tunnel. We fixed that. We stopped that. So we can do it again.
Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more from me in an hour.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Good evening. Cowardly, unwashed, angry, shouty kefir enthusiasts, students as well, tried to take over university campuses today so that they could commemorate the day an Islamist terror group tried to kill as many Jews as possible. In Edinburgh, some vegans tried to summon up the strength to bang a drum. Then this 2-ton tofu Tessie turned up with a megaphone. I think we could take you now to Glasgow University.
Free the 48! Free the 48! We don't want no Tuesday! We don't want no Tuesday!
Here they are shouting, "Long live the Intifada," outside King's College, London. Queen Mary University shouting out at people with blood on their hands. They've been at it in Belfast. But I've got to tell you, the mask completely slipped with this one.
I think freedom will be achieved when the Israelis go back to where they were born, which is probably America, Poland.
So you mean leaving the state of Israel? Is that what you mean? You don't believe in the state of Israel?
No, I don't.
You don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable about that on campus today?
No, I don't. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Goodness gracious me. For the most part, I just think that they're pathetic cowards. Why are loads of them covering their faces? I mean, if we look at this lot, they'll tell you that they don't want to show their faces because they're scared of what the fascist state will do to them. I reckon they don't want their mummy and daddy to find out. They don't want any future employers to find out. That's how much they really care about Gaza. They'll buy the Palestinian flag, they'll buy the keffiyeh, they'll make a little placard. But when push comes to shove, they don't actually want anyone to know who they are, because deep down they know that doing this on October the 7th really suggests that they support what Hamas did. I mean, look at these two. You zoom in a bit on the one with the black jacket on there. I mean, you can tell that's just a really scrawny white person, can't you? After a long morning of waking up, rolling out of bed at about 11:30 a.m, smoking something herbal, nibbling on a bit of tofu. They've gone to show glory to our martyrs. I mean, martyrs? What? Like these guys? Oh, solidarity, comrades. Apparently at Liverpool University, they've had a Palestine bake sale. It's called Time for Dessert. Dessert, you say? Do you mean that you think this was the main course? But the problem goes much deeper than nutty students. This post is from an NHS doctor. She claims to work in trauma and orthopaedics. She says, glory to the breaking of the 17-year illegal siege. Glory to the Palestinian resistance. Glory to the martyrs. The picture there of a bulldozer going into Israel. At some point, we're going to have to confront the fact in this country that loads of these public sector workers, people in the NHS, our schools and the civil service, have these views. On today of all days, a group called Intifada 87. By the way, I believe that's in relation to Hamas being founded in 1987. But anyway, they're going to march from the BBC to Downing Street. Can you imagine if people did this on the 2-year anniversary of 9/11 or on the 2-year anniversary of 7/7? By the way, while they were all out marching for Palestine, Hamas launched rockets at a town that they attacked on October the 7th. Then these two grinning little slime balls removed yellow ribbons from near a synagogue in Finchley today. Now, I've got a message for the people celebrating October the 7th today. You can take your Intifada and you can shove it up your backside. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have got Reform's Jamie McIver, The Telegraph's Poppy Coburn and journalist Jonathan Liss. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. Just utterly deplorable scenes yet again. We're having to confront. So that girl, that's zoning on that girl there at that university who said basically she didn't think that the Jews were of value and that Israel didn't have a right to exist and the Jews need to leave.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, Patrick, when you said the mask has slipped, because we all know these have been anti-Semitic hate marches. I don't care what anybody says, that's exactly what they are. And I'm ashamed to see them on the streets of the capital city of this great country. And watching some of those clips across the country, I cannot believe that is my country that it's happening in. I really can't. And you know, these people should be utterly ashamed of themselves. We all have things that we care about in politics. We all want to speak out about them, but there is a time and a place. And what we have seen from this utterly anti-Semitic campaign is hatred towards Jews, hatred towards Israel. The state of Israel is a sovereign state. It has a right to exist. In my opinion, there is one state solution. It's called the State of Israel. It already exists. And what we have seen is this government encourage this behaviour. I don't believe a word that Shabana Mahmood says when she said this is unpatriotic, or when Keir Starmer said it's not British. What is completely un-British and unpatriotic is that we have given in to terrorists by acknowledging a Palestine state.
Sorry. When you say a one-state solution, it's called Israel.
Yes.
Are you saying that the entirety of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank should be incorporated into that state of Israel?
I'm saying there is a state that exists. It's called the State of Israel.
OK, there's also the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which are not part of Israel. Are you saying that is there a reform policy that should be now one state of Israel? Is that one state of Israel?
My own opinion.
OK,
I do not want to see a state born of terrorism.
All right. So, I'm sorry, and this is really important, Jamie. It's really important for what we're talking about. Do you think, you just said there's one state called Israel.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the Gaza Strip and the West Bank are part of that state, the Jewish state of Israel?
We're talking here about the UK.
Yes,
right?
Jamie's the one bringing Israel into it.
I understand that, but let's bring this conversation back to what's actually happening in Britain.
You can't answer, I noticed. That's quite interesting.
Let's bring this back to what's happening in the UK. Frankly, I think what that student said was really revealing, because I think it speaks of an ideology that has actually captured a lot of people's minds. And I'm not in favour of banning things, by the way. I don't trust the state to ban marches or whatever. I think they'd abuse the power. But the woman, when she said that Jews in Israel should go back to America, and even more obscenely to Poland, I mean, frankly, there was a reason why Jews left Poland. I mean, a lot of them didn't actually get to leave Poland because of the Holocaust. But I think it speaks to the fact that, like, there is obviously a legitimate position to take in opposing Israel's war in Gaza. OK, that's completely fine. This is different. If you are carrying a bloody banner that says glory to the martyrs on a 2-year anniversary of a massive terror attack that attacked people for being Jewish, there is no moral high ground there. That is a completely alien ideology that must be called out, cannot be equivocated on. Like, these people, there is something wrong with them. That is extreme. It is extremism. Yeah. And I think you have to be able to draw a line now where you say, if your brain has been so kind of, you know, just toxified in this ideology of thinking that you have the moral high ground, that you think on the anniversary of a terror attack, now is the time to talk about glory to the martyrs, then I'm sorry, I don't want you here.
Is there anything there that you actually want to call out and criticise?
Patrick, there are slogans at every march that I would find extremely offensive and distasteful.
Was there anything specific there that you would openly condemn?
I would say glory to the martyrs, for example, is a very distasteful thing to say if you are referring to people who killed innocent civilians. Yeah. I would say that would be
and what that woman said about Israel as well, presumably.
Well, if you're talking, which particular comment are you talking about?
I'm talking about any of the clips that you saw.
The girl who said that she thought that Israelis should just go back to America.
I think that's wrong as well. I think that's wrong as well.
People's opinion's not valid?
Well, look, I'm a Jewish person, Jamie. I'm the only Jewish person on this panel. Obviously, I think Jewish people's opinions are valid. And I happen to disagree with... I mean, you seem to be speaking for Jewish people. I don't claim to speak for Jewish people. I claim to speak for myself. I am saying that I think that people have an absolute right to protest. And the 7th of October did not only mark that horrific and barbaric attack by Hamas, it also marked the start of what has turned into, by global consensus, a genocide. And people have every right to protest that.
But why did... even if you accept, right, even if you were of the view that it's genocide, can you not turn around and go, well, why did that start on that day then? Because of what Hamas did.
Patrick, you could... Well, look, nothing... Look,
so let's go
we can go back to hundreds of years. You can choose the start of this conflict any time. It's only didn't start on the 7th of October. But even if it had started on the 7th of October, then it still wouldn't justify genocide. Israel is responsible. Hamas is responsible for what Hamas did on the 7th of October, and Israel is responsible for what Israel has done since that.
I think they're cowards. I mean, the absolute total cowards. Covering all their faces so much of the time. I mean, what does that say? I mean, seriously, I've got so much conviction in my belief. I'll go out and I'll be really anti-Semitic, but I don't want anyone to know it's me.
Okay, I completely understand what you're getting at, but I'm sure you also recognise that there is a subsection of people who have been self-radicalising, who live in the West, who are not directly implicated in this conflict at all, who I think are genuinely, like, melting their brains with this stuff in a way that's quite dangerous, and are inculcating themselves with this kind of, like, strange, like, decolonial ideology, which makes them think they have a more high ground, where that is clearly crossing a line.
Look, there are entirely legitimate critiques to be made about the state of Israel, the foundation of the state of Israel, the citizenship laws of the state of Israel. I have of course, I have more right to go and live in the state of Israel than someone whose families lived there for centuries. I think that's wrong, and I have every right to critique it and to protest it.
Just to drag it back to here again, what on earth is going on at our universities? But also, not just that, sorry, that NHS doctor who shared a picture of a bulldozer going through saying glory to the martyrs. I mean, she is referring to Hamas. There can be no, she pictured it. She literally provided us with a photograph. She's treating people in the NHS.
Well, then this is what petrifies me. You see it in universities, you see it in schools, you see it all the time. There are people with positions of responsibility where actually every now and then they should recognise that actually, I think actually Robert Jenrick made this point very well about activist judges. If you want to go and talk about all these things, I believe in freedom of speech, but some people have responsibilities where actually it is inappropriate, and I would argue that's a great example of it. But back to your point about universities, what petrifies me is the coercion and indoctrination of young people. You've actually labelled it perfectly. They're melting their brains and obsessing over something, and they're not getting their facts right.
Do you think that, I mean, do you not see that people are watching what has been happening in Gaza to the people of Gaza for 2 years? Surely you're not defending that. And you say that they have an absolute right to protest. Our government has been sponsoring that, and we have a right to protest.
On October 7th, though, I'm sorry. Again, I agree. People
I would not do it myself, Poppy.
And glamorising Hamas, there has to be a line.
I agree that, look, as I've said many times,
talk about children.
As I've said many times, I don't support those slogans at all.
But that's what those people are doing.
Where are they today?
We're talking about whether I think it's a good thing, whether I think it should be illegal. Those two things are different.
No, I
don't think it's good, but I think it should be illegal. I think a lot of those slogans are bad. Absolutely.
I think it's a cancer in our society.
But also, where are the chants calling for, the safety of children? Where are the chants calling for, victims and civilians caught up in the war? There's never any of that.
Yeah.
It's always hatred chants, anti-Semitic chants towards Jewish people.
What do you define as an anti-Semitic chant? Something that's against Israel is not anti-Semitic.
No, I disagree with you. Calling for the eradication of the only Jewish state.
You literally just called for the eradication of the West Bank and Gaza Strip 2 minutes ago.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Please take the opportunity now to explain what you meant when you said that there is already one state. It's called Israel. What happens to Gaza and West Bank?
You said that they are concerned about the war, and you never hear them calling out things like civilian deaths. You never hear that.
I'm just going to tell a very, very quick anecdote, something that happened to someone I know yesterday. There was someone who was cutting down yellow ribbons around the North London area, and then a Jewish lady confronted one of those people, and then just not confronted them. They had a conversation where they didn't really agree on anything, and then she sat down to have a coffee afterwards, and then someone who was very close to the girl who was cutting down those ribbons came and started screaming and shouting at her and attempted to hit her, just because she was Jewish, by the way. So they seemed unable to tell the difference between anything the IDF was doing or anything like that. But there's also the propensity to violence just towards someone who happens to be Jewish. I mean, but the shocking thing about that was, she said, that's just happening all the time now. It's not really about Israel, in my view. It's about the Jews. But anyway, I want to know what you think. Were the pro-Palestine protests today on the second anniversary of October the 7th massacre un-British? You can scan the QR code on your screen now to vote in that poll. I've got a big story for you. It's a GBNews exclusive when we come back, and it's parents at a primary school in Wales who've raised some serious concerns about what they feel is the religion of Islam being forced onto their children. But before all of that, of course, here's your chance to enter the Great British Giveaway. Here's how.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Welcome back. We've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages coming. Some breaking news on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. The EU is threatening to cripple the British steel industry with massive tariffs. Oh, well, too late, guys. We've done it to ourselves with net zero. And we're going to be going live to New York, where Ben Leo is in amongst it at a rally there. But first, it's a GB News exclusive. Parents are being branded racist for raising concerns about Islam being taught, or rather kind of in a way forced on, to their children at a Welsh primary school. I've got some quite shocking details for you. I'll reveal all of that very shortly. Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
My dad used to play it constantly, you know, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Matt Monro, Sammy Davis Jr., you name it, I mean, all of them. And I came home one afternoon after school and he had this song playing. It was called Special Angel by Malcolm Vaughan. And it caught my interest. And since then I asked him for a CD, like, you know, a swing CD, and I got it for Christmas. And I was listening to it all the time, and it became a thing, and I started to sing along and got used to it and just really enjoyed it. So it's been my life, really. It has been my life.
I suppose the thing about swing is you've got so many really good songs. Yeah. What do you pick?
They're only 2 minutes, 3 minutes long songs, so if you've got to do an hour's set, there's plenty of songs there, you know, to fill that. You can't just do 10 like pop songs today. You know, they're all 2 minutes 30. I think Fly Me to the Moon.
So did you go, have I got a story with that one? Or is it...
Oh, it's always... Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. It's always about a story. Yeah, it's... any song that I ever choose for any show that I ever do has either got a memory or a story behind it. Because, yeah, swing's been my life, you know what I mean? So I've never sort of drifted anywhere else. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
What I find fascinating with this sort of music, though, is that it's... I mean, it's old now.
Yeah.
It doesn't age.
Well, that's the beauty of it, you know. I think for many years, all these songs, you know, people have covered them. Certainly myself, I have too. My first album was, wow, a long time ago. And
that was called My Way, wasn't it?
Doing It My Way, yes, it was, yeah. And so, for me, all these songs that have been my life since I was a little boy, I've grew up with them, and they don't get old, and they never will. And it takes somebody for myself, you know, like myself, to continue them on. You know, Michael Bublé did it, Robbie Williams did it, and I'm still doing it, you know.
The People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Look at this. We are live in New York City at the moment, where there's a Palestine protest with a sign that says Mohammed was trans too. Not making this up. That's a thing. We can all see it. He's also got, which you'll just be able to see below him there, the Palestinian flag, but in trans colours. I'm not joking. This is actually happening. Well, I think we've peaked. I think this might be as nuts as it possibly gets. Mohammed was trans too. It's a pro-Palestine protest on October the 7th in New York, where Ben Leo, our very own, is going to be helping to present the show tonight. There you go. And it's got all this next to a bloke with the face covering, the keffiyeh classic. You've got the massive Palestine flag, then a bloke on the end there. Mohammed was trans too, and a trans-coloured flag in the shape of the Palestinian flag. I mean, I don't think I can improve on that. I'm sorry, I don't think I can improve on that. Right, we'll keep dipping in and out of that complete full frontal lunacy. But first, GBNews can exclusively reveal that a Welsh primary school has been slammed after worried parents were branded racist for raising concerns about an Islam lesson. Let me explain. Seaview Primary School in Swansea recently brought in a representative from a local mosque to teach the school children about Islam. But parents complained that Christian denominations don't get the same representation in their religious education lessons. Apparently, parents were not informed about the visits beforehand, and then when some objected to the lessons, they were apparently made to feel as though they were racist. Children were being marked down on things like misspelling mosque or Quran. But there is a bit more to this. There is even the claim that one of the children said, I'm Christian, I don't pray to Allah, and that the person who came in to that school to give that talk and to be with the children said that by the time you hit year 6, you will all be Muslim. Well, local Reform UK councillor Francesca O'Brien organised a public meeting this morning to discuss the issue. She joins me now live. Francesca, thank you very, very much. Tremendous to have you on the show. So what is it that local parents are, A, complaining about, B, so worried about?
A couple of things. Thank you, Patrick. Actually, this morning was quite an eye-opener. Many of the parents contacted me at the end of last week raising concerns that a representative from one of the local mosques here in Swansea attended the school without the parents' knowledge, and they were taught how to pray on a mat, how to fast, and reciting prayers to Allah. I took phone calls from parents where they said the children were reciting the prayer off the top of their head, and these are children as young as 5. So it does raise a number of concerns, and I could feel that there was a lot of tension in the community. I was asked to attend. I said I was happy to listen to them. I think they felt unheard. So today was quite an eye-opening, and as I said, there was a number of parents there, some too scared to even come because they felt they would be branded racist. There have been accusations that a parent in particular was called a racist, and that is something we're going to be looking into. But huge issues there. The imbalance of religious beliefs. You know, do children actually know the Lord's Prayer? We're meant to live in Britain, we're in a Christian country. So is there an imbalance in religious studies in our primary schools here in Wales? And I think maybe we've only just touched the tip of the iceberg here, Patrick.
Yeah, and I think, well, look, the school has come back to us. They've said that, you know, at times they will celebrate Christian festivals and things like that. That's what they said. But as far as the parents are concerned, this came off the back of another story out of Wales recently, I think, didn't it?
Indeed.
Which was to do with halal meat. Is that true? What's going on there?
It is. It just seems to be off the back of a video on Swansea Council where it was claimed that meat in schools is served halal. So many parents weren't aware of that. I have since written to the Cabinet member to get clarification on that and to see if that is the case. So this is accumulation of things where parents feel that they are either being misled, that there's no transparency and they're not being listened to. And I think there's a chance where it's getting heated, and I think people just want to feel heard. It's their children's education. It's important. They want to know what's going on in their school here in Swansea.
Well, quite. And I think there's a slightly broader picture here. I mean, we've spoken a lot about, on this show anyway, about things like Wales being, I think it's a country of sanctuary or something along those lines.
Sanctuary, yes.
Yes, quite. And I just wonder, is this, because it's quite an interesting microcosm, Wales, actually, which I don't want to talk about an entire proud country like it's a microcosm, but of what it's like to live for a prolonged period of time under quite a hard Labour government. And you end up with kind of stuff like this. Is there a sense that doing things like bringing in the kind of more Islamic representation, not telling parents about it, setting homework tasks as a result of it, and potentially that allegation, which the school denies, by the way, but an allegation made by one parent that their child said, well, I don't really want to pray to Allah because I'm a Christian, and them being told that actually you'll all be Muslim by the end of school. That parents feel as though this might be being forced onto the kids a bit.
It just questions, is it being indoctrinated in the schools? You know, are other representatives from other faiths going into the school? And that this is where questions do need to be asked. I think the parents were very open-minded with churches and so forth going into the school and teaching. You know, it is important, but equally, you know, do we have the Christian community going in and teaching the Lord's Prayer? And, you know, it's making sure that there is balance, that there is transparency. And at the moment, when parents went in last week to get that transparency and that openness, it was actually denied, it appears. And it just feels that what a sad state of affairs that parents feel that they can't ask or can't challenge, dare I say, at the school who are teaching their children. Like I say, these are children as young as 5. Is it age appropriate? So it was a very interesting meeting. It was standing room only. So it shows the feeling in the community. And I'm happy to be that voice for them.
Just very quickly, Francesca, as well, whilst I've got you, I'm not including this school directly in this, by the way, but I think there are other concerns about what's being taught to children in schools in Wales as well, aren't there? So you've got this kind of stuff, you've got the halal meat being served, and then you also appear to have quite radical trans stuff, don't you?
Yeah, we do, and even just on today's topic alone, with Islamic issues as well, it does appear that there was other parents who attended from other schools as well that have raised concerns. So I think, like I say, we've just sort of scratched the surface on it, and there's going to be probably more meetings ahead. But we need transparency.
Absolutely. Look, Francesca, thank you very much. Absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Yeah,
Great stuff. Francesca O'Brien there is a local Reform UK councillor. Just on that meeting. So, look, we did go to Seaview Primary School. It's fair to say that they have disputed some of the allegations here, and I want to tell you what they've said. So, the claims being made are not true. We have a strong ongoing relationship with our local churches. We have regular visits, and our pupils participate in major Christian festivals, and they're including Christmas, Easter, and the annual Harvest Festival. This was the first time someone of the Islamic faith from our local mosque was invited to the school. They go on to say that it's untrue that pupils were told that they would all be Muslim by the time that they get to year 6, or that they were taught to pray in Islam. I'm not quite sure they've worded that correctly, but anyway, we get what they mean. We pride ourselves on being a school where everyone is treated with dignity, tolerance and respect. Lessons and assemblies mainly reflect the broad traditions of Christian belief, but we also try to give our pupils a basic understanding of the world's other major religions. So that is their statement there. So thank you very much. Right, coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, some breaking news in the Telegraph that apparently the European Union, you know, our friends in the EU, they're threatening to cripple the British steel industry. Plus, we're going to go live. Let's see if there's any lunacy back out and about on the streets again here. Let's have a look. No, OK, so this is in New York now. Oh, good, we've got a bloke with a Hamas. Look, it's everywhere you look. It appears to me that guy is wearing a Hamas headband when the black car moves there. A Hamas headband, I think the camera's pan around, with a sign, an Israeli flag with baby killers written on it. I tell you what, good grief. America is nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. Before, we had Mohammed was trans too on a poster there. So Ben Leo's somewhere in the middle of that, I think, and we're going to talk to him shortly. Don't go anywhere.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow across southern parts of Europe, there's a lot of fine weather around. A few spots of rain here and there, a couple of showers starting to push their way into parts of Portugal, maybe around some coastal parts of Spain. Otherwise, a generally fine picture here. Also generally dry across much of Italy as well. Further east into parts of Greece, also around Croatia, a few showery bursts, but a lot of that clearing away. So actually, as we go through the end of the week into the weekend, it's looking dry for many of us and warm in the sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office.
As we head into tomorrow, the sunshine will return for some. Still fairly cloudy across the south, though, and plenty of showers moving their way in across Scotland. Back to this evening, and we can expect some spells of rain initially across northern parts of England and Wales. Then eventually the system will drift its way southwards, bringing in more cloud, also some drizzly outbreaks across central and southern parts of the UK. To the north of this, though, mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to turn chilly. A chance we could see some isolated frost, possibly even some mist and fog during the early hours of the morning. A different story across Scotland, though, more cloud here and plenty of showers moving through. So a fairly chilly start across northern areas, but slightly milder under the cloud in the south. And it is going to be quite a grey and gloomy start to the day. There will be some drizzle in places, mostly across any hilly areas. And as we head our way further north, it will become drier. Plenty of bright and clear spells to start the day, though it is going to feel chilly. And across Scotland, once again, it is going to be another wet start. Plenty of showers continuing to push their way in from the west, turning quite breezy here at times too. And these showers often merging together to bring quite persistent outbreaks of rain. And it's likely these will linger through much of the day. But any cloud and drizzle will eventually shift its way southwards, so it should turn drier and brighter here, but the best of the brightness is going to be across Wales, central parts of England, also Northern Ireland should see plenty of sunny spells. Those showers are set to continue across Scotland though. Temperatures will be fairly similar to what we saw this afternoon, so highs of 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Heading into Thursday and across the south, it will be a much brighter start to the day. It's going to be chilly though, some mist and fog in places. Many areas should see a mostly dry day, though we have once again got some showers just starting to move into western parts of Scotland, also parts of Northern Ireland, so it could be a little damp here at times. For the rest of the week and into the weekend, high pressure dominating, so mostly dry, though it's often going to be cloudy. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. I've got the very first look at tomorrow's newspaper front pages for you. So The Independent have gone for Jenrick defiant in racism row over white faces remark. This is his comments that he said that, he'd spent a bit of time in Birmingham and didn't really see a white face, which was, of course, true. Then we go to the next paper that we've got, which is the Daily Mail. China given a free pass to spy on Britain. Sensation as the DPP confirms that spy case was dropped because Starmer's security advisers refused to call Beijing an enemy. I feel like the print media is very much, going big on this. I think it's kind of passed me by a little bit. Not passed me by, but I just feel like we've had more kind of punchy stuff on, but we might get stuck into that. The I paper. Millions of UK drivers will get £700 payouts for a major car finance scandal. Lenders must give £8.2 billion compensation for 14 million missold motor deals. This sounds like an advert you hear for a law firm on the radio, doesn't it? Will you missold PPI? Let's go to the Metro. No whites don't make a wrong, Bob. Residents demanded an apology following divisive remarks. Can I just say that they're willfully ignoring what the reality is here, both just in terms of actual demographics, but also in the BBC article where they'd sent someone to Birmingham to try to criticise Robert Jenrick. They interviewed a bloke who was Muslim who said, no, you don't see any white faces around here. And they just buried it at the bottom of the article. But anyway, fascinating. The Times, Badenoch sets out golden rule to cut spending and borrowing. She's going to promise to cut government spending and balance the books. Ministers, quotes, refuse to help China spy prosecutions. They've also gone for the old PPI scandal. Millions of car finance customers to get 700 quid each. Let's just round us off. Daily Telegraph. CPS, number 10 to blame for collapse of spy trial. And the EU is threatening to cripple British steel industry with huge tariffs. All right, look, they're going after Robert Jemerick a little bit here. The Metro, no whites don't make a wrong Bob. Poppy, what do you make of what he had to say there?
The thing I find really funny about people who are self-styled multiculturalists is that they really hate it when you just state the facts of what diversity actually is. I mean, you know, you can just pull up the census data.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. I mean, it is an area that is overwhelmingly Asian and a very tiny number of white British people. So what's the problem with that? Why is he not allowed to talk about it? Are we suddenly supposed to feel so uncomfortable when a couple of years ago it was totally acceptable for ethnic minorities to say, I feel uncomfortable being the only, you know, black person in a room.
Isn't the point
I see all these white faces.
Isn't the point that he said he didn't feel comfortable with it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable with it either.
Okay.
Because it shows that we're living in parallel societies. Well, what's the problem with that? I mean, are you comfortable with it?
I'm not uncomfortable with it.
Well, there are also aspects...
Well, let's talk about it.
There are also aspects to it, like when I was on Allen Rock Road. I mean, it's like to do the bin strike, actually. So, I mean, I appreciate it already wasn't looking its best. However, I've been there when there wasn't a bin strike on, and it didn't look that much better. I mean, some of the shops that are down there, I mean, all of the shops that are down there, to be fair, are not British. But you had, like, a Pakistan cafe, and then Afghan restaurants. There was like Lebanese, Palestinian flags as well there. Yemeni flag, I think I saw at one point. And then the butchers. You've got people just carrying sheep carcasses just openly down the street. So I mean that's.
When you say they're not British, I mean they might well be British. They might not be sort of white English. What you spoke to every person in the area?
I spoke to loads of people there.
How do you think a person would become British living in an area that's 90% non-British?
I think that we do have a situation in this country that we've had for many, many years where, and this is not, you know, unique to the UK, where people come and they move to certain areas and people from the countries of origin will then go. So that's why to those areas. That's why you had waves of migration to one place. That's why in sort of the Bangladeshi community in London overwhelmingly comes from one area of Bangladesh, for example. Yeah. That's why you had sort of, you know, many Jewish people in Golders Green around there.
Pakistan called Mirpur, which some of the local MPs want to build an international airport so we can have a more direct route there. But anyway, gone quiet about the airport in Mirpur, hasn't it? Thank goodness for that. Your views on what Jemerick said?
What is wrong with describing what you see? There are 4 white people on this panel as we're talking. So, you know, what is wrong with describing what you see?
Well, it's not about describing. He said he didn't feel comfortable with it.
What he described, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
OK, fine, but that's what we're talking about, not the fact
when
that he said
I'm on a train and I'm the only white person...
People took issue, actually, with him saying that he was just describing the ethnic background of the area. Now people are coming out and saying Birmingham is a brilliantly diverse city.
Because they knew he was race-baiting, Poppy.
It's not a diverse city. It is parallel societies that are not integrated.
We have problems with integration in this country. We do have problems with... We have problems with you know, one of the problems that we have... Well, by encouraging people to integrate with each other.
You've just said people in communities want to live with people in their communities.
I'm saying that's traditionally how it's come to be.
Very important.
That people live in certain areas. You know, there are people in the Jewish community, you know, the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community, who live in Stamford Hill and speak Yiddish as their first language, and they are not integrated either. And you know, there are I know Jewish people who don't have any non-Jewish friends, for example.
What I say with that is how many of them are there?
Right. Look, there is a broader point here that Britain has not always handled multiculturalism well. I completely accept that. Yeah. But I don't feel that multiculturalism is wrong per se.
This is something that Nigel Farage has warned about for a very long time, and it's also about secular politics that we now have, and it explains just why we're having it and where we're having it.
All right, guys, sorry, we're just going to whiz on because we have some big stuff to bring you in just a couple of minutes' time. It's this, live in New York with Ben Leo, because... I believe he's taking a live shot. There we go. Good. Yes, there he is. Look at him doing his hair. What a proud man. Fantastic. He's going to get in amongst it because we've got, I think, arguably the most lunatic pro-Palestine demonstration anywhere in the world happening right behind him. So get ready for Ben Leo Unleashed.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, cast your mind back 20 years to bin man turned X Factor star Andy Abraham. He is back and he's got a new single called Everything That You Do. Let's have a listen. Andy joins us now. It's great to see you. It's a fantastic tune. Why all this and why now?
Do you know, 20 years is a good time to team up with a fantastic producer. And so we come up with this tune, and it's, yeah, everybody seems to be liking it. So that's the main thing. But 20 years since X Factor and all that craziness that I went through. So I figured, why not go back into it?
Where has that time gone? So what have you been getting up to in the intervening period?
Oh, God, I've been getting up to all sorts, to be honest, but I've still looked the same, obviously. Still bald. Yeah, I'm just loving life, you know, just enjoying my time with my family. I've been touring, releasing albums. So, yeah, I'm looking to release another album. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. The industry has changed so much, you know. There isn't really a focal point anymore like a Top of the Pops. There just seems to be so many different types of social media outlets, and yeah, it's it feels like there's a lot more work to be done, you know what I mean? But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it either way. I just love writing songs and teaming up with fantastic producers like Benjamin, and yeah, hopefully it does really, really well.
Well, I hope it does, because it's a really good tune.
Andy,
it's great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let me whiz you through the first look at some of the papers, then we go live to New York, where it's a bit nuts. The Guardian, Jenrick accused of fueling toxic nationalism after race remarks. Yeah, these tricks just don't work anymore. No one cares anymore. He's not a racist. It doesn't matter. The Daily Express, Kemi, trust me to put UK's economy back on track. Well, OK then. And the Mirror, sickening. Lawrence killer parole bid. So this is one of the people who killed Stephen Lawrence, and I think he wants parole, so there you go. Right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go to New York, where I've already shown you some of the protests taking place there. Mohammed was transgender too, was one of the posters. We've had all sorts. Ben Leo, take it away, mate. Do your thing.
Evening, Patrick. Evening, viewers. Just a word of warning before we start. If there's little ears in the room, be warned, it's very fruitful language here. So if you hear anything, apologies in advance. This is New York City, the centre of Manhattan, right outside the News Corps building. The protest has been designated here, I assume, because it's the home of Fox News. News Corps, of course, own the Sun newspaper, the Times, and so on. Let me give you some colour. This side of the road, fenced off, pro-Palestine protesters. I think that chap there is holding it's either a Hezbollah or a Hamas flag, which is interesting because Hamas and Hezbollah are both designated terrorist organisations here in the US. If that happened in the UK, they would be pinched straight away. And this side is the pro-Israel contingent, flying Israeli flags and so on, Israeli-US flags. Let's go and try and speak first of all. And again, be warned, the language can get quite fruity. There you go, they're begging me over already.
How can I help you?
I'm just going to speak to this chap first and I'll come to you.
All right, no problem.
Hello, what's this flag, sorry?
It's the Hamas flag.
It's Hamas?
Yes.
Are Hamas not prescribed in the... are Hamas not prescribed in the United States? Are Hamas not a prescribed terrorist organisation?
It is.
So why are you flying that without... I mean, why aren't the police picking you up? Because in the UK you'd be arrested for that.
Well, it's called freedom of speech, right? It's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. People can support whoever they want just because some government prescribes someone as a terrorist. Does that mean you have to also agree with them?
Okay, some would say you're supporting terrorists, you're supporting people who slaughtered 1,200 people on this day 2 years ago. Why have you chosen this day of all days to come out?
Because this is October 7th, the day where Hamas they broke out and they started the resistance. It's from all the resistance. It's from the resistance from 77 years of occupation and apartheid and oppression.
So you support the murder and killing of civilians in a resistance?
No, I do not.
No, we don't support Israel.
Well, that's what happened on October the 7th, though. I mean, many civilians...
You know the Hannibal Directive?
I've heard of it, yeah.
So basically, what's called Israel killed their own people to blame our Hamas because they didn't want Hamas to take their people.
Can I ask why you're masked as well? If you're so proud and decisive against Israel, why are you hiding your identity?
The reason why I hide my identity is because these people, they like to dox us and ruin our lives.
Well, none of that lot are masked, so you're not being a bit of a coward?
No, they are proud of committing genocide, and this country is funding, helping them.
Are you not proud of Hamas killing civilians?
I'm proud of working for Israel.
I just wonder why you're masked, though. If you're so passionate about the subject, why you mask yourself? This lot aren't masked.
I just told you. Because
they dox you?
Yes, because they dox us, ruin our lives.
Well, they're doxed as well. Anyway, we'll move on. Thank you for your time, man.
Sir, over here, man.
Let's try and find earlier, Patrick, as you've alluded to, there was a sign saying Mohammed was trans. I'm going to try and find him in a second. Let me go and speak to, I think he's down this way. Let me go and speak to some Israelis first. There's colourful language going back and forth here. Hello, sir. Fancy a quick chat? Guys, fancy a quick talk? Fancy a quick talk?
Yeah.
How does it make you feel as a Jewish lady seeing this happen on October the 7th?
Well, it angers me so much every time that I see him. I come out every October 7th. I was here on October 8th the next day, and the rage I had, I was shaking. People thought I was cold because I was so angry. And it's just so disappointing to see that they're still going. 2 years later, we've been out here every year, every other holiday they come out, and enough. Leave us alone. Like, you're so obsessed. Leave us alone.
It reminds me of London here. You've got pickup trucks driving down the road, waving the Palestinian flag. One gentleman who I saw down there, some woman in a mask walked past him and said, "Go home, effing Jew." Do you feel safe as a Jew in New York?
Honestly, I don't feel so safe, but I feel safer than I would in London. I've been watching what's happening in London, and I wouldn't, as a Jew, step foot in London right now. Personally, here the cops do a lot, but if it wasn't here, if we weren't protected by them day to day, it's scary. We see them walking on the streets with their shit, sorry.
What is it about London you wouldn't feel safe with, particularly? What have you seen in the news?
I just keep seeing Jews getting attacked everywhere, police shutting them down there. And
we had a terrorist attack in Manchester a few days ago.
Just now, yeah. I was devastated. I saw that video, unfortunately by accident, and I just started crying, and I got so angry because I just saw people on the ground, grandma, like, I couldn't even see their faces.
Okay.
And I know they're everything to them.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry you feel that way. And it's interesting that you think that here is safer than London, because it feels pretty tasty here as a Brit.
It is, but it looks scary. It's scary, always.
I'll leave you to it. Stay safe. Thank you. Right, Patrick, viewers, come with me. Let's see if we can get amongst this lot around here. Watch out for the traffic. Right, hang tight, guys. Let's try and find the Mohammed is trans chap, because I'd like to know what he means by that. Oh, he's around here. Hang tight. Oh, is this the guy? Sir, hello. Ben Leo from GBNews in London. What does your sign say?
I don't want to be...
Does it say Mohammed is trans? What does that mean, exactly?
I have the flag.
You got the trans flag?
I got something to say.
But what does Mohammed is trans mean? Where's that from?
I have the flag.
I can see the flag, yeah.
You can interview him. I don't want to be interviewed.
But you've come out here in public with a sign saying Mohammed is trans. I'd just like to know what it means. Yeah, fine, okay. Do you know what it means, Mohammed is trans? What does that mean?
I haven't heard that.
Are you a Brit?
Do I sound like a Brit?
Oh, no, you don't. No. Okay, Patrick, let's go this way. It's interesting. The guy comes out to a protest in the middle of the busiest city in the world saying Mohammed is trans. I mean, it's bizarre, and then won't explain what he means. Let's walk in here. This is where it's really kicking off, viewers. If you hang tight, we've got all the flags going on. We've got the socialist-style placards. Guys, hello. Ben Leo from GBNews in the UK. Why do you cover your faces at these kind of events?
Media. I'm not talking to the fucking media. Get the fuck out of my face.
Sir, why do you wear a mask at these events?
I want to get British diseases.
No worries. British disease. I think I'm quite clean, actually. I had a shower this one. Right, let's head into here. Human rights are decimated. Intifada revolution. So, hello, Ben from the GBNews in the UK. Have you got 2 minutes just to see why you're here? You supporting the Palestinian cause?
I don't think you should go on. I cannot go on.
You shouldn't talk. Why shouldn't he talk?
I just for work and stuff, but we are
Work stuff.
pro-Palestine.
You're pro-Palestine. Are you pro-peace? What would happen if there was a peace deal? Would this kind of event
Okay,
stop?
we don't want to be.
Okay, got it. interesting. A lot of these guys. Hey, how are you, man?
Hi, hey, what's your name?
Ben from GBNews
Nice
in
to
London.
meet you.
Are you here supporting the Palestine cause, or what are you doing here?
I'm just checking it out. You know, I'm kind of new to the movement, but I mean, I kind of recognize that there's, you know, wrong things going on in the world.
In Gaza?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what brought you down here?
I guess my girlfriend, Yusra, she's Muslim. So I guess, you know, she's kind of on the, I mean, not that it's kind of bad that there are sides, but I guess she's kind of on that side per se. But even in my own independent research, like, it's obvious when there's like been 20,000 children that have been basically like slaughtered either purposefully or non-purposefully, like there's something very wrong going on down there.
Of course, people obviously were slaughtered on October the 7th 2 years ago today. Do you think it's respectful that this kind of event happens on the 2-year anniversary? I mean, it was obviously intended.
I don't know. To be honest, it might be a little bit disrespectful, but
you're still here.
Yeah, I mean, I just got here to check it out. I know about the 2-year anniversary thing that's happening with regards to Jewish people, and I recognize that might be a little bit disrespectful. But sometimes you have to be disrespectful in life to, you know, to show a message.
Okay. So you look like you want to talk. Do you have your fist in your mouth? Come on, be proud of your position.
I am proud of my position, but I got a lot to lose.
You've got a lot to lose. I mean, surely you should put your
October
position
7th. How about 1948?
Yeah. Okay. So you say it started before October the 7th.
So it's not about October 7th.
The latest conflicts, of course, came from October the 7th, and I guess
way before even 1948.
I guess the argument is that this war in Gaza could have ended long ago if the hostages were released.
It's not about the hostages either. Okay. If they release hostages, they will be still slaughtered.
Do you think Israel should exist as a state?
Oh, there we go. Am I on TV?
Yeah, you're live. You're concerned about. You say you've got a lot to lose, but it's such a passionate topic for you.
No, I am passionate.
Surely you should put your morality above anything else.
I am passionate, but you don't understand what goes on in this country. Okay.
What does go on?
If you are in my position, you will understand.
Okay. All right. Let's try and find someone else. It's interesting, guys, how, I mean, that young lad wanted to talk. He accepted it was disrespectful to come here. Hello, Ben from London. Have you got 2 seconds? We just want to see what you're doing here. What brought you down here today?
For Israel's crimes. It's what we're saying. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes they're committing in Gaza.
Okay.
Occupation, illegal occupation of Palestine. 2 years of genocide.
Okay. If President Trump achieved a peace deal in Gaza, would there be a need for this? Would you continue coming down? A deal that Hamas accepted, Israel accepted? I mean, surely that's what this is about, isn't it? It's about stopping the killing of civilians.
No, it's about a lot more. It's about the illegal occupation of land and decolonizing the land. It's about Israel
not existing.
Correct.
So you don't want Israel to exist?
Correct. I believe Jews, Muslims, anyone should coexist in the Holy Land as they have for hundreds of years.
Where should the Jews currently in Israel go then as a state?
Where they are. They can stay right where they are.
But you said Israel shouldn't exist as a state?
Correct.
So what should happen logistically, geographically? What should the area be called?
I didn't say anyone needs to move. I just said it should be run by Palestinians. It's their rightful ownership to their own land.
So that area should be run by Palestinians with Jews as citizens? Okay.
Obviously.
Right, okay. Thank you for your time.
Wake up. Free Palestine, wake up.
Right, let's try and find one more person. Sir, why are you masked just out of interest? Why do you wear a mask?
I'm not answering nothing.
Why not? You've come down here to protest, you're in public.
Record me all you want, I'm just not answering your question.
All right, well, no, we won't waste our time then. Thank you. Who can we find? Anyone? What's this one here? Let's ask this chap. Who's this guy? Hello. So, hello, sorry to bother you. Ben from GBNews in London. Just wondered what you're doing down here today. Why are you masked? Why are you here on the 2nd anniversary?
I just said I want to do it.
Okay, no worries. Right, let's try one more, Patrick. One more, lucky last roll of the dice. Guys, hello, sorry to bother you. Ben from GBNews in London. Just wondered what you're doing down here today. Some people would argue it's disrespectful on the 2nd anniversary and so on. Anything to say to that?
Why would you think it's disrespectful, though?
Well, the argument is, I mean, my argument as well, that, of course, civilians were slaughtered on
I'm
October
Palestinian,
7th.
but our civilians are being slaughtered.
I'll speak to you in a second, yeah.
Please, you skipped me last time. Yeah, but I agree with him, though. Palestinians are being slaughtered.
Yeah,
and at no rate or same rate as Israelis. And October 7th, it was the Hannibal Directive that killed the majority of Israelis. So what do you have to say about that, sir?
Well, are you saying the Hannibal Directive is where Israel was accused of putting helicopters
They weren't.
up
No.
and
They weren't
firing?
accused. They weren't.
But there were
Sir.
there were videos of Hamas. There was a video 2 years ago today of I've forgotten her name, the poor woman on the back of the pickup truck with Palestinian Hamas fighters spitting on her body. That wasn't Israel, was it?
What about the hostages? I mean, sir, what about all of the babies?
No. Answer that. That wasn't Israel, was it?
No,
Answer it.
Sir, there's no equating anything.
Do you condemn that kind of behaviour?
Absolutely not, Gloria.
I got it. So for me,
and I'm a Jew,
Okay.
and I'm an anti-Zionist Jew.
For me,
and I say fuck Israel. I say
Yeah.
fuck Zionism.
All right.
And I say
What about me?
Fuck you.
I'm Palestinian.
Fuck
Are you running
you.
away?
Instead of
Are you
swearing,
running away?
instead of swearing,
No,
let's-
I'm not going to say instead of swear. I'm
Yeah,
going to say
because-
fuck you.
All right,
And
let's
fuck
go.
Britain. I say fuck Britain.
Sorry, guys.
All right, well, there we go. Ben Leo, stay safe. I mean, I do hope he is okay, because he just like to get a bit tasty. I would actually just like to say, firstly, that I think that was genuinely one of the most sensational 6 or 7 minutes of television that I have ever seen. That starting with the bloke being asked what flag is that, and he just proud as much goes, it's the Hamas flag. We had a placard that said Mohammed is trans, and then we had that. I mean, I do actually hope Ben's all right, because he did look like he was getting a bit tasty towards the end there. Oh yes, also sorry about the language. Apologies about that, but not really our fault, I think. But anyway, sorry if anyone was offended by that. Right, okay, well, let's do my show now. Welcome to Late Edition, breaking right now.
In the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in.
Robert Jenrick's comments at a Tory dinner about integration in Birmingham have made not one, but two national newspaper front pages. Meanwhile,
China.
well, scandal, because the Director of Public Prosecutions has confirmed that the China spy case was dropped because the Prime Minister's security advisors didn't want to call China an enemy. Here's another little Trump montage for you.
Tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it?
Do you remember all those people that said the EU was our friend, that we needed to remain part of the EU, that the EU love us, je suis European? Yeah, it turns out they absolutely flipping hate us. The EU is threatening to cripple UK steel with 50% tariffs, despite Sir Keir Starmer's Brexit reset. And
alongside their demonisation of trans people, our government and media is currently also complicit in a genocide. And I know some of you may think a wedding is not the time to think of this.
Honestly, like, yeah. That was a woman at her own wedding, I think, using it as a way of just banging on about Palestine. And finally,
I am so proud of all of you. You know how privileged I feel to have been educated at Howard University.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I've had a long lunch. Next. We'll be going back to New York with Ben Leo very soon, if they've not lynched him yet. But joining us on the panel tonight, we've got trade unionist Andy Twelves, we've got the Telegraph's Poppy Coburn, and GB News contributor and comedian and rock star Paul Cox. But first, let's get those news headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Patrick, thank you very much. The top story, some breaking news this hour that a 17-year-old boy and a 22-year-old man have been arrested by police investigating a cyber attack on a chain of nurseries in London. The Metropolitan Police say the pair were arrested in Hertfordshire on suspicion of computer misuse and blackmail. Hackers were said to have stolen the photographs, names and addresses of around 8,000 children from the Kiddo chain. The force said it received a referral from the Action Fraud Cybercrime Reporting Service on the 25th of September detailing a ransomware attack. Those arrested remain in custody for questioning. Pro-Palestine protesters gathered at King's Cross Station earlier this evening, demonstrating on the second anniversary of the October 7th attacks in Israel. It comes after the Prime Minister branded such protests un-British. Writing in The Times, he added the UK remains committed to peace with a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state, he said. Meanwhile, a memorial took place in Tel Aviv to mark the second anniversary of the terror attack. Thousands gathered for the bereaved families' memorial ceremony. Families of those still missing say they'll keep fighting until every hostage is returned. That's as Israel's military campaign in Gaza continues. More than 67,000 people have been killed. Elsewhere, Robert Jenrick says he won't shy away from his comments about not seeing another white face during a visit to Birmingham's Handsworth area. He insists his remarks were about integration and not race, linking poor integration to last week's terror attack in Manchester. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch defended him, saying there's nothing wrong with making observations, but Labour called his comments a red line. Former Tory Mayor Andy Street said Mr Jenrick was wrong about Handsworth, which he described as a very integrated place. It all comes after The Guardian published a leaked recording of Mr Jenrick's remarks from a Conservative dinner in March. And Kemi Badenoch sat down with our political editor Christopher Hope. She warned that high immigration levels damage communities.
Small boats were not caused by Tory policies. They're small boats in France. They're in Italy. There is a problem with global mass migration. We tried lots of things to fix it. They didn't work. People saw that we ended up, the courts, stopping us from doing that. That's why we're leaving the ECHR, because we're tired of people using the courts to frustrate the democratic will. But you will remember that before small votes, it was channel migrants coming through the tunnel. We fixed that. We stopped that. So we can do it again.
Those are the latest GB News headlines. It's over to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Let's get straight into Wednesday's newspaper front pages before we go to Ben Leo in New York for one of the maddest pieces of footage you will ever see. Let's go to The Independent. Jenrick defiant in racism row over white faces remarks. Probably mainly because he wasn't racist, I think. But, it's never stopped The Independent before, has it? The Daily Mail, China given a free pass to spy on... Gosh, I can't talk, sorry. To spy on Britain, there you go. So the Director of Public Prosecutions, which actually used to be Keir Starmer, didn't it, has now confirmed that Keir Starmer's government has basically crashed a Chinese spy court case, which is kind of, I thought, the opposite of what this government